might need to bear with us for a minute here once we get underway. The projector isn't working, but I think it'll recover here shortly. So either way, we're going to move forward. My name is Mike Burnson, and I'm the programming director at Student Shoulder to Shoulder. And what that means is I essentially have a really interesting job. And it's interesting for many, many reasons. But I think primary among them is the amazing people that I meet from around the world, both close to home and very far away, and the relationships that I've developed with them. And essentially I've just learned through my experience in this role about how good people, when they work together, can make difficult conditions better. It's often that simple. That is what Shoulder to Shoulder is about at its core. And in many ways, the journey that led me to meet these unique and amazing people, many of which you've seen just in the last periods, began on this stage. In many, many ways, SSTS was created in this building. And it really started, its origin was a simple question: what can I do? And what I mean by that is you often learn here in school, as you should, about global issues and challenges, but often the more you learn, the more you wonder, is there anything an individual can do about that? And we've come to call that the paralysis of enormity, which means essentially that when you confront a problem that seems too big, that you don't know even how to begin to approach it. Often people in the world are left doing nothing. But there's others who will ask, what can I do? And that's what happened to many of us who were teachers here in this building. We taught about global issues, and students said, what do I do? And we wanted an answer. And the one answer that we came up with was that you spend time working beside people who can teach you what doing looks like. And that's what our guests do. They show you what it means to do something. And we want to have people work beside them. And Shoulder to Shoulder really started in 2007. I stood on the stage with Bob Bandoni, and we had an assembly of the high school and just said, hey, does anyone want to go to India to work with a really amazing organization called the Z Foundation? And so many people were interested. They were like, okay, we want to meet this need. And so we offer programs in Nepal. We offer programs in New Orleans. And when students came back from those first experiences working shoulder to shoulder with nonprofits, many of us who were involved in those early trips, Ryan Gray, Bob Bandoni, Casey Lasher, Kate Blakeston, Nina Bandoni.
Call front desk. Dean, please call front desk.
As well as Lorraine Hasley. Came back and said, hey, I think we're on to something. Kids are learning as much in these short periods in our summer programs as they are in our classrooms for a year. We had to admit that to ourselves. And so we're like, okay, we have to continue to do this. And then, unfortunately, about a year later, we were no longer able to continue the program in India. So we hope to start another. And that is when I had the true fortune in my life to be introduced to Dr. Karambu Ringera. And literally the moment I met her, I knew not only that she would teach me a lot about the world, but more importantly, I would learn an immeasurable amount about my own role and power as an individual in shaping it. And so shortly after I met her here in Vail, I was asked, do you want to go to Kenya and bring a group to work with international peace initiatives? And I was like, okay, well, I'll check my calendar. I looked around, I was like, yeah, I think I can do that. I go free. And that is where this partnership with IPI and the friendships related to it were really born. And so over the last 7 years, I've witnessed something truly special in the village of Kathoka that you're soon going to learn a lot more about. And I've seen a wasteland literally transformed, not just physically, but in the spirit of the people who live there, understanding what can be possible. And so when you're introducing someone, I think it's customary to say that you're honored to introduce a speaker. But it's never been more true in my life than it is at this moment. I'm sincerely and deeply honored to introduce Dr. Kay, not only because what she and her staff have accomplished, but also how she's taught me so many things. The last time we were there, she told my students that the thoughts that you sow are directly related to the reality that you harvest. The thoughts that you sow are directly related to the reality that you harvest. And I've witnessed, when you put that model of development into place, how it can shape a place in a beautiful and hopeful way. And I'm delighted to have her here after too many years. But now she's here to speak more about her work. And so I want you all to give me a warm welcome for Dr. Karambu Ringera.
Carlos. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just can't begin to tell you what it means to me to stand before you this morning. But I'm here because this story is important to share. My name is Dr. Karambu Ringera. I founded International Peace Initiatives. And what I say is that students shoulder to shoulder is our sustainable lifeline. Well, before I go on, when I first came to the United States of America, I landed at Minneapolis. And when I got there, they said that I had something that I didn't know I had. They called it an accent. I carry this accent with me. But to all of you, you also have an accent to my ears. But accents are the awesome gifts that we have been given so that we can listen to each other more intently. There are some words that I don't pronounce the way you pronounce, so just listen to me intently, and if you don't understand something, make sure to ask during the question and answer session. Before we begin, we are going to watch a short video, and then I will begin my sharing with you this morning.
The story behind that is about this huge forest being consumed by a fire. All the animals in the forest come out and they are transfixed as they watch the forest burning, and they feel very overwhelmed, very powerless, except this little hummingbird. It says, I'm going to do something about the fire. So it flies to the nearest stream, takes a drop of water, he puts it on the fire, and goes up and down, up and down, up and down, as fast as it can. In the meantime, all the other animals, much bigger animals like the elephant with a big trunk, could bring much more water. They are standing there helpless, and they are saying to the hummingbird, what do you think you can do? You're too little. This fire is too big. Your wings are too little. And you're big, so small, you can only bring a small drop of water at a time. But as they continue to discourage it, he turns to them without wasting any time and tells them, I'm doing the best I can. And that to me is what all of us should do. We should always feel like a hummingbird.
I grew up in Kenya, in a small village. And growing up as a girl, I watched what was happening in the life of my mother and the other women who were in the community around me. And there are 4 women whose lives, I think, shaped my worldview. A lot of people ask me, why do I do what I do? How did I come to know? I didn't know. When I was about 4 years old, there was a lady who used to run into our house every night. Like, I'm not talking about just running. She'd crash through with the door and go to the back of the house. And shortly after, I would hear footsteps and a male voice at the door. He would say something, and my mother would say something, and the footsteps would recede. Later in life, I realized that woman was being battered, domestic violence. But every night, she ran into our house, and my mother would tell us, and then that voice would come. Much later, when I was 10 years old, my friend said to me, my mother is ill, come, let's go pray for her. 10-year-old is going to pray, healing. We had no idea how sick that lady was. my friend's my friend's dad had married another woman. And when men marry another woman, the older one is more likely chucked out of the home. When you're Kenyan and you're married and your husband chases you, you have nowhere to go. Your parents don't want you, your brothers don't want you because you come back with the baggage of your children. This lady had nowhere to go, so she went back to her parents' home. And when we went to visit her with my friend, we found her sleeping outside a hut on a cardboard. Half of her body from the waist down rotten, bad bed sores for lack of care. We prayed for her, but she died later. Then I met an old lady near my village. I don't know what I had gone to do to her house, and I found she was eating dry corn sprinkled with salt. She offered me, so I tasted. And so when I went back home, I asked my mom, why is she eating dry corn? She was so poor, she couldn't afford good food. Shortly after, one day I went and visited her. What happened is that after that, every Saturday when I wasn't in school, I stole my mother's food when she was serving us lunch. And I would take it to the woman, then I would come and look for more food to eat. And so later in life I asked my mom, did you used to know I used to steal food to take to that lady? She said yes. So I said, why didn't you say anything about it? Because we could have taken more food to her. Anyway, a couple of weeks down the road, she said, last night I had a noise and I couldn't see anything. But the next day, she found a crack on her breast. At that time, I had no idea what breast cancer was or what it looked like. Because she was so malnourished and she had no money for good food, they couldn't operate on her. She'd go to the hospital and they'd wash her wound with the remains of cleaning from other people's wounds. So she told me, I stopped going to the hospital because this is what they're doing to me. So, little me, I didn't know what to say, but she also died. And then more recently, I met another lady. And she had been looking for me for about 4 years. And this one time I was able to go and see Beatrice. And she was lying on a bed, and I couldn't talk. And I didn't know she was dying, because I'd never seen her die in person. So I just held her hand. And she said, please make sure my son goes to school. I said, I'm coming back after 4 days. We will talk about it. Well, 2 days later, she was dead. The 10-year-old son was digging behind the hut, a 10-year-old kid who was not going to school because his mom lay on that bed. Her husband had gone and married another woman, had AIDS. They brought AIDS to Beatrice, my Sunday school teacher, faithful, good Christian woman. She died of AIDS. That son, amongst other factors, caused me to begin the orphans education program. In the village where I lived, culture, traditions, and just a mindset of people feeling like they have nothing that they can do for themselves, they must always wait for stuff to come from outside, just box people in these spaces that they felt they couldn't get out of. And the more people came with ideas about things that they could do, I felt like they looked for a larger nail to close themselves even more tightly in the boxes. So our work is about mindsets. Growing up in a culture like that one, where women are not even second-rate citizens. If you ask a man who is important to you, it will be their son, their cows, their goats, whatever else they have, their car maybe, then the daughter, and then the woman is the last one. Growing up in a culture like that, how does a child grow? Children who've learned to be seen and not be heard. And then your parents die. And your uncle says, you're not going to school, you're going to herd my animals. And in addition to that, the food that I give you, because I'm not going to pay you, you share with your brothers and sisters behind you. And you don't come into my house and you don't play with my kids because you have HIV and AIDS, even though they don't have HIV and AIDS. A community that has closed its eyes to what is possible because they believe that help must come from outside. And I say, development aid has not done good to anybody because it teaches people that you can only develop, whatever development means, if there is an expert who comes to tell you what's wrong with you. And I say, an expert to my problems is myself. I will figure who I am as a woman and do something about it. Individuals, when a man loses a brother, they don't want more responsibility because they have created their nuclear family and they want their family, their kids to do well, and the kids of the brother to be the slaves, to work, to be servants for their children. So when you live in a situation like that one, and then your media tells you that, oh, Africa is just about wars, it is hopeless, it is useless, it is this and the other. You look at me and you think, how did she even get into a plane to come here? You know. But I'm here to share a story of hope and to share with you that in partnership with people from around the world, change is happening in the world. My work is about reclaiming wastelands. Environmental wastelands, like when I met a group of women and they said to me, you have to help us. Our husbands have died, we have no houses, we have no land. I said, I don't know how to help people. Tell me how you want to help yourselves. And they didn't know what to tell me. I said, so what do you want? What do you need? And they said, we just want you to know when we die, our children will be yours. I said, 95 women telling me this, I said, it's okay. I will take your children, but you must promise me not to die quickly. So we started this dance of talking about how we can transform these wastelands. And when I sat down one day and thought about why do I do what am I doing? What do I do? Why do I do what I do? I recognized that my work is about reclaiming wastelands. And reclaim, I gave the word reclaim, I made it an acronym. And it is reclaiming wastelands, like the piece of land that we were given to build the children's home on. Because after some time, the women said, we needed a home so that they knew if they died, their children had a place to stay. So they gave us a rocky, barren piece of land, the community did. And I felt like they were telling me, take this piece of barren land for your barren wasteland women living with HIV and AIDS and your orphans, and let's see what to do with this thing. When I went to that barren, rocky piece of land, I felt love. I didn't see the rocks. I saw the possibility of children living in a loving, peaceful home and making something of their lives. And so our work is about reclaiming wastelands, environmental, like that piece of land, societal, like a community of people who close their eyes to the plight of marginalized people in their groups, to individuals who think that it is not their business to do anything. But the worst form of wasteland is the mental one. When people close their minds to what is possible and they don't want to know, that is a very dangerous form of wasteland. Reclaiming these wastelands. The R stands for taking responsibility. You can imagine sitting with women living with HIV and AIDS thinking that they're dying tomorrow and telling them, you have to take responsibility of this situation so that we can do something about it.